How did I miscount that? There you go. Yeah. Okay, we're ready?
You're good to go.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to call this virtual special meeting of the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission on May 13th, 2022 at 2 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask the secretary to please call the roll.
Commissioner Covington,
Here, also, I want to let you know that I'm not sure how long this meeting's going to go, but I have to leave at 3:15.
Yes, sir.
thank you. Commissioner Dewey,
Here.
Here.
Commissioner Ellison,
Here.
Commissioner Hunter,
Here.
Commissioner Kaufman,
Here.
Commissioner Macha,
I understood that Rachel Macha was traveling. I think she has basically a graduation for one of her children, her son, from college.
thank you. Commissioner Strange,
Mike is traveling for family as well.
Commissioner Bryan,
Me, hello.
Chairman Bryan, and Commissioner Davis here.
All right, we have a quorum. Call the meeting to order. You hopefully have all received from Lauren Good, who I hope is sharing her screen with us today. Lauren, are you here?
I am here and I can share my screen whenever you are ready.
Okay, if you would show the 6-page slide deck that I believe was circulated among the Planning Commission members from your office. All right. Each of the Planning Commission, members of the Planning Commission should have received this document. And there are a couple of things in here that, Lauren, if you would review with the commission, and to the extent we need to approve, we can do so as needed per page.
Great, thank you. Since we met last, I received a few comments from members of the Planning Commission. The comments are fairly minor in nature. Some of them are more having to do with the layout. Some are minor words here or there. But the people that submitted wanted to have the chance for these to be reviewed, and if you are in agreement, to be incorporated into the draft that ultimately will go to the mayor and commissioners. So in this PDF, the PDF that you received, this PowerPoint presentation, I've outlined each of these to provide the original comment as well as a version of how this would be incorporated. We tried to do this in track changes or something like that, so you could see specifically what those changes would look like when we incorporate them into the updated document, which will ultimately be draft number 7, should the commission vote to incorporate them.
All right, please proceed.
Great. So the first comment has to do with the topics that were in the Chapter 2 highlight box. This was just to add 2020 before the rest of the text that was already there, which was comprehensive development plan process.
All right.
Did you want me to give an overview, or for each one have a more of a discussion?
Well, I mean, if there's anything that you need to point out to help the commissioners reach a decision here today, go ahead, and if not, then I'll ask what the view of the commissioners is.
Okay. There isn't a whole lot more to that particular item. Fairly straightforward.
All right. Does any member of the commission have any concerns about this change, which appears just simply to be a formatting type thing? And if not, we'll move forward. All right, Lauren, thank you. Go ahead and make that change. And what we're working for today, what we're working toward is to put together CDP number 7. That we've been working off of 6 is the latest version. 7 will then be the document that goes to the mayor and board of commissioners if we so vote in that direction today. All right, what's next, Lauren?
The next has to do with the appendices. This comment was that the font size was different than the main body in the text. So our recommendation to incorporate that comment is to just update the font size to mirror what is contained in chapters 1 through 8. So this is very much more of an aesthetic and layout piece than anything substantive.
All right, anyone on the commission have any issues with this? Hearing none, Lauren, please proceed.
This comment came from a group of commission members that has to do with some language that we had added in draft 6 related to housing issues and, workforce housing. Those initial changes stemmed from comments we had received from Sussex County during the public review process. So the language we initially had came directly from the county's planning director. The comment here is basically saying that the work that the county is currently working on, it's still very much in a draft form, hasn't been finalized, and there's also been some criticisms about that process. So without having something more concrete and being able to discuss this more, felt it would be inappropriate to just jump right to saying that we are either in agreement or that the positions align, et cetera. So you can see the proposed incorporation to the item that the paragraph that we had added. And in addition to that, the request was to add the 2 words "and workforce" to action item H, so that would look at implementing regional strategies for addressing affordable and workforce housing needs.
All right. Any member of the commission have any concerns about this revision? Hearing none. Lauren, I believe we're on to Chapter 6, Transportation.
Great. These comments stemmed from some comments that had been submitted by members of the public, again, during that public comment input phase. And these were related to the more vague nature of the action item H, which had to do with contracting with a traffic consultant to conduct a traffic study. There's a desire to have this be a little bit more, or I guess use stronger language and call out specific items that Planning Commission would like to see addressed, such as the volumes, patterns, and speeds, looking at particularly busy streets with the largest volumes, things of that nature.
Okay, and so the recommendation as revised in this proposed revision is to basically the Planning Commission would be recommending that a contract with a professional traffic engineering firm be entered into for these traffic studies. All right, does anyone have any issues with that? All right, next I believe we're on to Chapter 7, Environment.
Yes, this comment here had to do with the Resilient Community Partnership project that the city was a part of a few years ago. This looked at best management practices and impervious surfaces, things like that. That document contained a number of action items and recommendations for all of the participating communities to consider. We initially had included more general language about the high-level goals of that project, as well as a few specific instances of when Rehoboth was mentioned and the items that they were suggesting, but we kept it at a very high level because the RCP document gets into more of the detail. So here, the comments were requesting to provide more information and specifically to some of the items that we had addressed or discussed at the last meeting, having to do with potential changes to the zoning ordinance, looking at floor area ratio, lot coverage, et cetera. So after a little bit of back and forth, what we are proposing here is to retain the original action item, which is action item R. So that would just include that more vague language, which is to consider implementing recommendations from that project. Keeps it very broad, but then also add a new action item, which is on the bottom right of your screen, to consider changes to the provisions of the zoning ordinance and looking at those items that I mentioned just a few moments ago.
And this action item does come from this Resilient Community Partnership Project? Is that correct?
Yes, there are that project, the recommendations that it has come up with includes all of these types of recommendations within it. So this one I think is possibly combining a few of them, but all of those topics are found in the recommendations from the RCP study document.
All right, does anyone have any concerns about this? All right, Lauren, that brings us to our last page, which are the some items that may be carried forward, I believe, on to the Mayor and Board of Commissioners. Is that correct?
Correct. So there are a few of these comments that we had received, and we are actively coordinating with city staff as well as some other outside parties. One of those is taking another look at the neighborhood maps. There's been some discussion about the accuracy of the boundaries. So just making sure that we have the most up-to-date and accurate boundaries to depict those neighborhoods as possible, and any changes to those maps themselves would be also realized in the associated narrative that goes along with them. The next item here stems from comments we received from Sussex County. They were requesting that some additional information about a few projects that have taken place over the last few years be incorporated. This would be the water interconnect project with Henlopen and Acres, as well as East Lake Drive, and then the connection of parts of West Rehoboth to sewer utilities. So here we are just getting some more information about those projects, and we'll potentially be looking at having a brief paragraph, something similar in nature to the other projects and initiatives discussed in that chapter, just to highlight those items. And then the last item on this page has to do with the various transportation and infrastructure initiatives that have been highlighted in the draft. These are being reviewed and updated to make sure that the projects and initiatives reflect the current status. Of course, a lot has changed in the last few months, and with budget season and whatnot, we have some updated information. So we are just making sure that those are as current as possible.
Now, these issues will not be addressed in CDP number 7. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is our recommendation that we forward these items in particular along with the recommended draft and request or suggest that the Board of Commissioners review these items. Some of them came from members of the Board of Commissioners, so having that discussion would make sense. But this way, we aren't leaving these as vague, to be included items. They will end up being discussed more if that is the desire with the mayor and commissioners when they begin their review process.
All right.
And again, these items in particular, they don't have any real policy implications. These are discussing either ongoing, completed, or already scheduled projects and initiatives. And then the neighborhood mapping issue is just to make sure that those are accurate.
All right, if I can for a moment, go back to the agenda. This is one pattern that I've developed, which is simply to put ask for Ann Womack to give us the verification of meeting notice, please. And oftentimes I do this as item number 4 or 5 instead of number 2. Ms. Womack.
The agenda was posted in City Hall and on the city portal on May 7th and was sent out from the city portal on the same day. That's all I have, Chair.
Yes, all right. Thank you, and I apologize for that. All right, not receiving anything else about this, it would be my recommendation as chair that we look at adopting the necessary motions to conclude our work on the CDP. I have a summary here of where we've been and how we got here, and we didn't have a lot of time to get here from when things changed last fall, but all of you have been here, all of us together, so I'm sure you have a good recollection of where we've been and where we've come. I'm sure there have been several birthdays held and celebrated during this process. At this point, the chair would entertain a motion that the Planning Commission forward what is currently draft number 6 of our proposed 2020 Comprehensive Development Plan as amended in open meeting today on May 13th, which this new document will be designated as CDP draft number 7 to the Board of Commissioners for their consideration and review. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I so move very happily.
Mr. Ellison and Mr. Dewey, moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. That motion is passed. Secondly, a motion, I ask you to consider a motion that the Planning Commission recommend that the Board of Commissioners, the Mayor and Board of Commissioners adopt draft number 6 of the Planning Commission's proposed 2020 Comprehensive Development Plan as amended at open meeting today on May 13, 2022, to be designated as CDP draft number 7 as the 2020 Comprehensive Development Plan for the City of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Is there a motion?
I so move.
By acclamation, apparently. I like that. Is there a second?
Second.
A second.
All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. We can close this book. From our standpoint, members of the commission, you've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Anything further?
Mr. Kaufman.
Mr. Kaufman.
Yeah, I just wanted to, and I'm sure the other commissioners will join with me. I wanted to thank Lauren and Max and Brent and Ann for all their support and help with this. It's been a long time and they've been great throughout. And I just wanted to put that on record. And I'm sure the other the other members will agree with me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anything further? We're adjourned.
Have a great weekend, everyone.